The fire we reported at the fire hall is still burning out.
Do you sometimes feel confused or lost in the complications and complexities of life? Do you feel drained, listless, or exhausted from the daily burdens and responsibilities? Why not seek our campus ministers on air every Tuesday from 2 to 3 in the afternoon? Listen to our counselors from the Loyola School's Campus Ministry Office as they ground our lives in our faith, in our school's spiritual tradition. Campus Ministers on Air. Be guided, be inspired, be blessed. Listen to our Campus Ministers on Air. Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM. We are now on YouTube. Watch all of our live episodes plus exclusive content in our channel at Radyo Katipunan FM. Don't forget to click subscribe and hit the bell to get the latest updates.
Jesuit Music Ministry, your daily dose of inspiration. Follow jescom.ph on Spotify and Jescom Music on YouTube. We are also on iTunes and Deezer.
Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay atin mista sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugo, todo sa kayod, tulong at tulong. Ipag the Blue Eagle, galing hiding at tigil, blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan.
Let us understand mental health and explore how we can take care of our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Welcome to your weekly slice of mental health tips and tidbits with Pat and B. here on Mind Ed.
Sa'yo sumisilong kapag ang puso ko'y pagod.
Radyo-Katipunan, 87.9 FM. This is your stop for all things pop. Catch our all-around pop culture geek, Chola Sediaren, as he throws in some dose of what's poppin' and what's hot in the pop culture scene here on Popcorn. Munch in with us every Thursdays from 4 to 6, only here on Radyo-Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
Nasistress ka na ba? Nagpapanik o natatakot dahil sa COVID-19? Normal lang ang ganitong mga reaksyon sa ngayon. Pero may magagawa ka para mapagtagumpayan ang sitwasyon na ito. Ituloy lang ang pangangamusta sa mga kamag-anak at kaibigan gamit ang text, tawag o video. Tiyakin na ang mga bata ay ligtas at nasa maayos na kalagayan. Gawin sa bahay ang mga nakasanayan upang hindi mabagot o mabalisa sa panahong ito. Sa wastong pag-iingat, ang virus hindi kakalat.
Radyo-Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo-Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo-Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay atin sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, radyo, katipunan. Radyo, radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, kawal ni Ignacio, katipunero sugo. Todo sa kayod, tunong at tulong. Lipad na Blue Eagle, galing hiting at tigil.
The fire we reported at the old fire hall is still burning out.
Do you sometimes feel confused or lost in the complications and complexities of life? Do you feel drained, listless, or exhausted from the daily burdens and responsibilities? Why not seek our campus ministers on air every Tuesday from 2 to 3 in the afternoon? Listen to our counselors from the Loyola School's Campus Ministry Office as they ground our lives in our faith, in our school's spiritual tradition. Campus Ministers on Air. Be guided, be inspired, be blessed. Listen to our Campus Ministers on Air.
afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our conversation. We faculty members would like to talk to you about our lives as teachers and God's presence in our vocation. So, I'm Ines Bautista-Yao. I'm a teacher in the English department. I'm a wife, a mom of two, and I write stories about love. Rofel?
Yes, I'm Rofel Brion, the oldest, the lolo of this group. Kasi I've been teaching in Ateneo for more than 40 years. I've taught Filipino, English, creative writing. I'm with the Interdisciplinary Studies Department and I'm also a campus minister. But may racket din ako kasi outside, I am a writing coach. A translator. Pero I'm also a student. I'm taking art lessons now. Euge?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Euge. I'm a part-time faculty member at the Ateneo School of Law and also at the John Gokongwei School of Management. I belong to the Marketing and Law Department. And apart from teaching, I'm a father, I'm a husband. I have two kids, one 9 years old and one 8 years old. It's been a joy to be here with this group. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Hi,
Yes,
I'm
who's next,
Briel.
Briel?
Yeah, I'm Briel. I'm the rookie of the group, I guess. I'm a lecturer with the history department in Ateneo, like everyone else.
Yes.
And I like history and art and children. I love children. So I'm really excited to be with everyone today. Go Cheche!
Thanks, Briel. So I'm Cheche Suarez with the English department of the Ateneo. I'm also with the Ateneo Center for English Language Teaching. I do a lot of teacher trainings and I also do some projects with the British Council, Commission on Higher Education, and even the Department of Education. So there.
And she is a new doctor.
Yay!
Congratulations, Dr. Cheche
Congratulations,
Salamat
Cheche.
po. Katatapos lang aming virtual graduation yesterday. Thank you for celebrating with me. And salamat din sa lahat ng mga sumuporta sa akin in this journey to my PhD. So, since I have the floor now, let me ask the first question. First question natin, siguro we can all share something about what we like most about being a teacher. So, in my case, what I like most, what I like most about what I do as a teacher is that I'm constantly engaging with other people, young and old, and everything in between. Ikaw, Euge.
Oh, my favorite part about the teaching has always been about the students. It's really mentoring the students like all of you. It's one thing to teach them about the subject, the content, giving them knowledge, giving them skills, training them, but it's really different when you're mentoring them also, especially as to what you've learned in life. So, and I notice about the students, they're very welcoming actually about life lessons. They yearn for it. They very much like it. So I guess that's what I will always love about the teaching, mentoring the students. That's why I always make it a point to share with them about the life experiences that I've had. We've all had the good and the bad. We teach them what to avoid. We teach them what they should do. And hopefully they'll get to be able to find their own group, so to speak. But again, it all goes back to that mentoring part. So that's what I love about teaching.
I'm the same with Euge. It's also the students for me. I like being in a classroom with students. So this online thing has been so difficult because I enjoy those small moments, diba? Like before you start your lesson, you talk to them, or like in between the candid comments and those like really fun moments of like sabaw with the kids. I love those. So I think that's what I enjoy the most. But beyond that, seeing them like realize, or like when you get your message across and you see them form their own thoughts and you hear what they have to say, that's what I love the most about teaching.
Ako ganun din. I also like teaching because of young people. And I've kept a lot through the years, no? My friends who are my students, ang age range nila ngayon from 50 ang highest siguro or more, and ang youngest is 17 years old. Mga kaibigan ko sila. Pero may nagbigay sa akin ng isang somebody gave me tawag dito, basta I forget. Nag-aano ako ngayon, nag-senior moment. Ah, ang nakalagay, teaching is learning twice. And so that's the other thing.
Yes.
So true.
Ha? O yan, nag-yes din lang si Ines. Ikaw na, Ines. Ikaw naman.
Yeah, my turn. But like everybody else, the same lang din. I really love being in the classroom. I remember when I started teaching when I was 20 or something, 21. I don't remember now how old. I told myself, okay, it sounds so morbid today, but I told myself I want to die teaching in the classroom. Okay, today I don't want to die teaching in the classroom, but you know what I mean? Not literally.
Romantic ka lang, no? Romantic. Oo.
But the sentiment is there. The figurative thought is there that I don't want to ever stop, because being in the classroom is not just engaging with the subject matter that I love. It really started with that. It started with my love for words, for stories, like all of us, and then it's not just the love for the stories, but then imparting that with the students who and making it interesting for them, and then meeting them on another level, as Euge was saying, that they're so thirsty for your stories, not just what we're teaching, of course what we're teaching, but also who we are, right? So that's just a small bit of explaining what I love about teaching, and there's so much more, but that's, I think, like a capsule of it. But taking it from there, what I want to know is, since this is the Ignatian year and we keep talking about the cannonball moment of Saint Ignatius, have you guys had that cannonball moment that he also experienced?
For sure, meron yan si Euge.
Diba?
Oh, Euge.
Quite interestingly, yeah, I think I have an experience to share, and I think I'm not like the rest of you. You've all had your teaching career even before. I failed to mention earlier, I'm a lawyer by profession, but I describe myself now as a teacher by passion. So I came late into the game, actually. Teaching has always been something that has been in my head. I remember in one of the discussions I shared with all of you that I initially wanted to become a priest. So, but I realized that I'm too much of a sinner. So I ended up now with the next best thing. But that cannonball moment for me actually happened. Part of my practice, I served in government for 9 years. So after 2016, when we all stepped down from government, I kind of lost my way. It was difficult transitioning from government to the private sector. So it was very hard finding what you want to do. After being in government, serving government, it's quite a challenge now what you actually want to do back in private, because it's really different. In government, you get to do so many things, you get to help so many people. So back in private, parang hirap, ano bang gusto ko? Do I want to go back to practice? Do I want to do corporate, etc.? So I actually tried my hand in corporate for a while, but after 1 year, 2 years, I didn't feel the fulfillment in it. So I resigned from my job for a good 6 months. Those were my cannonball moments for 6 months.
Wow.
I applied left and right, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Some I rejected. Many rejected me because I was already in that position that's difficult
Overqualified
to
ka na.
employ.
Yes.
You're already in that position. Parang you're not quite there yet. You're not quite here also. So
They don't know where to put you.
place you?
Yeah.
So, exactly.
Hindi nila alam kung saan nilalagay. Sabi nila kasi, saan natin nilalagay ito? Mukhang pare. Pare yan. Sorry. Go ahead, Euge.
Kasi mukhang pare pero mukhang makasalanan naman.
Sorry for disturbing, interrupting.
No problem, Rofel. So when I was trying to find my way, for a good 5-6 months, I didn't know where to go. I honestly didn't know where to go. And then the teaching opportunity came. A good friend of mine asked me if I was interested in teaching. So, okay. And I sent in my teaching application. So that kind of got the ball rolling, the cannonball rolling, so to speak. And then I find myself here now. And what's very interesting about it is I found myself coming home to the Ateneo again. And I remember when I was preparing for the bar, when I was praying to God, God, make me a lawyer because I want to be a lawyer for people. I want to help people. I want to help people. So, totoo nga, God placed me in government. And then now, here, this is it. So that was my cannonball year, 2018, when I lost my way, when I was in that dark place. It was very difficult. It was very hard. Then God provided that teaching opportunity for me. So, yeah, go ahead, Ines.
No, I just have to say really quickly that 2018 was also when God brought me back to Ateneo. But anyway, later na.
Batchmates kayo.
Yeah, batchmates tayo.
It's written in the stars. There must
I
be something
know.
cosmic about 2018.
I know. We never talked about this before. It just, when you mentioned it now, it's like, yeah, that's also the same year.
Parang everything, parang everything fell into place.
Yeah.
It just really happens.
Yeah. And imagine how God was already preparing you for something like this. That
Yes.
during the pandemic, you will be teaching.
Yes.
Who would have thought, di ba? Na magkakaroon ng ganito.
I completely agree because, again, unlike all of you, I think you've all had your teaching career in mind. I think God really prepared me. Eugene, pagdaan mo muna ito mga to. Pag kailangan ma-experience mo muna to, maggawin mo muna to, etc. He had to line up the ducks, so to speak, before he brought me back home to the Ateneo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that painful 5-6 months, that was my cannonball moment. That was my cannonball year, 2018. So, yeah, that's why I find myself here now in the Ateneo teaching, mentoring students, being with great colleagues like all of you. So it's such a blessing. It's such a blessing. That's why I always say, after that cannonball moment, after I found myself teaching the Ateneo, everything else followed.
Yeah.
Suddenly, I found myself practicing law again. It's an interesting practice. It's a niche practice, and I find myself writing a book or several books, in fact. So, and it kind of, again, that cannonball will roll for you. That cannonball will roll for you. It's a painful moment, then it will roll for you. Then it will lead from one blessing to another. One blessing to another. So, yeah. Thank you.
So happy for you, Euge.
Salamat. And I'm sure si Rofel would also have some thoughts about cannonball moments, being in the teaching profession for so long.
Alam ba nyo that when I was in high school, even when I was in college, I said I would never teach. Talaga kasi nervyoso ako eh. I could not imagine myself standing in front of people and doing something, no? Pero so I tried. I mean, I worked in a bank. I ran my family store. I was an economist in a government agency. And then I said, ayoko na magpanggap kasi literature talaga yung first love ko. So I went back to Ateneo to study literature, and then I was invited to teach. And I said, sige na, kasubuan na to, turo na. So I began in the Filipino department. Yung Filipino department, very nurturing, tapos ang dami kong kaibigang mga estudyante, yung ganun ba, alam mo na yung mga barka-barkada, bata-bata pa ako nun eh. And then the English department asked me, Rofel, can you teach? I said, what do you want me to teach? Yung basic courses, yung composition at saka yung literature, okay? So I had two different classes. Iba yung composition class ko, iba yung literature, magkasunod sila. Ganon. And so I even had to come from Berkmans to Bellarmine. Ganon.
Layo.
So yung literature class ko, enjoy ako dun sa literature class ko. Tsaka yung mga estudyante ko, mahal na mahal nila ako, ganon. Tapos sabi nung mga estudyante ko sa literature, sir, we were talking to your freshman composition students, and they said, we were talking about you, and they said, are you talking about the same Mr. Brion?
Oh
Not like that.
no!
Yes. Kasi,
Oh
oh,
no.
grabe. Oh, no talaga, Ines. Kasi that was the very first time I really taught English composition. Okay? I knew my strut and white. I knew those things. Oh my God. Para talaga akong tinamaan ng bala ng kanyon. Para talaga akong napilay. I did not know what I was doing. I could not even identify the grammatical errors of my students. And so, ang nangyari talaga doon, I was in a bad mood. I mean, ako yung may kasalanan. Papasok ako, parang sa loob ko, bakit ko ba ito tinanggap? Eh, hindi ka naman pwedeng umalis kasi middle of the semester na, di ba?
Yes.
Ba't ko ba tinanggap to? Ganun, ano ba to? Tapos, I started hating even my students. Hindi naman nila kasalanan. Kasalanan ko, I started hating myself. So, minsan, ang ginagawa ko, you write in class. Ang excuse ko, I have to know that they're the ones writing this. So, you write in class, di ba? So, ito, hindi ko ito malimutan. So, they were writing in class. This was a room in Berkman's on the second floor. And it was parang, it was a medyo hazy morning. Parang uulan, ganyan, aambon. So, they were writing in front. I sat at the back. Grabe, baka ako umiyak. I sat at the back. Tapos bigla na lang, I don't know. Talagang, parang may nagsabi sa akin, parang, Rofel, estudyante mo yung mga yan. Rofel, mahal mo yung mga yan, kahit ganyan yung mga yan. And then, it dawned on me, sabi ko, my God, these are young people, and I want the best for them, and I will do everything I can for them. Grabe talaga, cannonball talaga. So yun yung cannonball, and then, so sabi ko, ganito pa lang, magsalita ang Diyos. Kinakausap pala ako ng Diyos. So ito yung segue. Ang tatanong ko naman sa inyo ngayon, mga kaibigan ko,
Ganda ng segue, ah.
Oo.
habang nagtuturo kayo, paano kayo kinakausap ng Diyos? How does God speak to you as you teach? Sabi ni Ines, maganda ang segue. O, di ikaw ang unang sumagot, Ines.
For me, I think the message was so clear from the start that God wanted me to teach. And I believe, like what Rofel was saying, that it's so clear God was talking to him because nobody, for me, I don't think anybody else could be saying this to me other than God, because besides the fact that when I was a child, I was already teaching my sister and the daughter of our driver. But when I entered Assumption, that's where I taught for the first time. When I started teaching there, I was so burned out. I mean, now that you're talking about your cannonball moments, parang cannonball moment ko na rin yun. Kasi I was so burned out. I had 10 or 11 sections of like 40 students. Yeah, it was insane. So imagine checking the exams and ano yun, puro essay yun. So it was really hard. And it pained me so much. So a lot of crying. It pained me so much to stop because I knew that I love doing it. But I couldn't continue anymore. Parang I felt na, my best friend told me, when I see you, you're like a shell of your former self. Quote unquote yon. So I was like, ang sakit naman yan. Because all the energy, all the life I gave in the classroom. So outside, wala. I didn't have any. And so I said, I have to stop. I can't continue. 2 years lang yun. There's just 2 years of teaching. But I'm like that because I give so much. So I stopped. I resigned. It was very hard for me to do. And then I started working in Summit, writing, which is also my other love. But it was a very strong nagging, I guess. You know how, like what Rofel was saying, that he also was like, I don't want to teach, but then parang ganon na, come back. Ang kulit, diba? I guess you guys understand, makulit ang Diyos. when he wants you to do something. And makulit talaga siya. So when I finally accepted it, yes, this is what you want me to do. Yes, this is what my heart wants me to do. So slowly it was like that, being called. And it, like Euge, I don't know why Ateneo kept calling me back. Assumption also, but I was telling them, sorry guys.
Maririnig ka na nila ngayon.
Ay, no. Alam naman nila eh. Pero si Doc Marts, I call her, Dr. Isabel Martin, I call her my Dumbledore because parang she's the one who keeps pulling me back to Ateneo. The very first time she told me, you come, you join us. I was taking my MA with the education department. She said, so come here to the English department.
Lagot ka kay Isabel, sinabi mo yan. Ayan na. Alam na rin nilang lahat.
Totoo yun. And then, syempre ako naman, yes. Sobrang, oh my God, this is what I want to do. And then, when I shifted, she said, come teach here. Come teach here in 2 days. Parang ganun.
Wow!
On
Agad-agad.
Monday. Saturday ata yun. Monday, you start. What? But it kept happening like that. So I feel like God just kept pulling me back. And then like Euge in 2018, again, see Miss Isabel, Doc Marts, was the one who also told me, because I said, okay, I'll finish my master's na. Then she said, you teach na rin. And it just so happened to be that same course that Rofel was talking about, with English 11. And I hate that course so much.
Aren't you revealing too much, Ines?
I'll keep quiet na. No, I mean, okay. Not naman I hate the course, but like Rofel, and I really feel that we really are super kindred spirits because literature is really my first love, and that's really what I love to teach. And I remember pa Ate Josie would tell me, okay, Ines, I'll give you literature. And before, and when they gave me composition, I was like, okay, I really questioned myself. Is this really what I want to do? Parang all my life, you've been telling me to come back. This is so hard. And I was really, while getting dressed to go to school, to go to Ateneo, I was praying and I was telling God, this is so hard. All the checking, all the grammatical errors, all of it. It was so hard. But that questioning actually is perfect. You know, that's a perfect time to talk to him. That's a perfect time for God to tell you, yes, you know, you look at, you reflect everything. And I'm so grateful that he has spoken to me throughout my life because I really feel I am where I should be today. And ang haba na sinabi ko, but you understand what I mean. It's really this whole pulling, and finally, I'm here na, God. I'm here na.
Oo.
Hindi na ako aalis.
Yeah, sinabi mo yan.
Yan na naman.
Here I am, Lord.
Diba? Oh, this is...
Saying too much. I should keep quiet already.
No, but you know, Ines, sorry, I just have to chime in. When you said
Yes.
it doing something that you hated, you can only see God's hand working through you. Because you persevered. And it tested what you really love doing also.
Yeah.
Right?
It affirmed, it super affirmed it huge. Kasi I told myself before, kasi it was, I don't want to teach this course. I'm so scared of it. I was really scared of it. Because how am I gonna make this fun? And for me, writing is so personal. So I don't know how to teach it. But when I got there, I said, come on, you've been writing professionally for so many years. There's a reason for this. Just like you, all your experience, you said, you know, you took it and now brought it out. It's like there's a reason. And this is a challenge that now in my 40s, aminado, now in my 40s.
Revealing too much talaga.
I mean, in my 20s, maybe I couldn't do it. I was so afraid. But now in my 40s, I am strong enough and brave enough. And I feel that, you know, I can actually make this good for the students. And then in the end, they were telling me that they learned so much. And, you know, they never thought that a composition class could actually be. Because these are not writers. These are not art students. They were like management science, ganyan. Hindi talaga writers. So it was like my biggest fear I was able to overcome. And so I'm so grateful also for that.
Oh,
Cheche, what about you?
the new doctor.
The new
Oo nga,
doctor.
oo. Well, there were a lot of moments when I felt like God was speaking to me. Pero for this sharing lang, siguro I'd like to focus on my experiences as a teacher trainer. Kasi yung mga moments ba na that I'm sure you've experienced this, except for Briel, masyado pa siyang baby sa teacher training. Pero siguro, di ba, yung experience ba na after a lecture or discussion from the speaker or the trainer, di ba, like tayo, after our training, people pre-pandemic, our participants would come to us and say, wow, that was the first time I learned about it. Ngayon ko lang narinig yun. Kung hindi pa ako umattend, hindi ko pa malalaman. So, ang dami-daming ganong moments, especially when you talk about, kasi yung training natin, like ako specifically focuses on teaching practices, particularly language teaching practices. So, pag meron silang mga sinasabi na dapat pala ganon, dapat pala ganito. Or just an example, yung confusion about the mother tongue-based multilingual education. Diba? Parang feeling ko talaga, that's a very good example of how God would speak to me. Kasi there are times when, even if it's not the topic, like this one instance, we were talking about something else, and and one of my participant teachers said, hindi naman kasi dapat mag-MTBMLE dahil nalilito lang ang mga estudyante dyan, pampagulo lang yan. So even if it was not my topic, I had, nagre-react si Ines kasi you know my stand on this, di ba? So even if it
our
was
stand,
our stand, the department, the institution, etc. So ang sabi ko, can you just, I begged for indulgence from everybody, and I said, can you give me a few moments, like a few minutes to just clarify that? And so parang God was speaking to me and saying, Che, clarify mo yan. Parang that was the moment. Hindi, that's something that you can just ignore. It's not something that you can just ignore and say, oh, sige, let's go back to what I was talking about, or let's call on somebody else. Hindi. So I had to explain the value of using the mother tongue in the classroom, even in the English classroom. That, yun nga, sinasabi din sa isang article ni Isabel, o si Isabel din yung reference ko dito. Isang article niya, she said, linguistically, all languages are equal. And I had to emphasize that. Pati yung pinag-usapan din namin in one course sa ASELT ni Dr. Tupas, Juan Tupas, yung difference ng dialect versus languages. Kasi culturally affected ka dun eh. If your language is called the dialect, parang ginagawa mo siyang, you're putting it in a place that
inferior. It's inferior to,
less important. Yeah, na inferior. So parang, although hindi mo siya mako-connect initially na spiritual, feeling ko kasi language, di ba? Linguistic is personal. Language use is personal. And it's part of our culture. And therefore, it's part of who you are. And who you are is part of your spiritual being. Di ba? So parang as a teacher, yung opportunities ko to clarify as a teacher trainer, what was given to me as a, hindi lang siya, duty, yung advocacy, di ba? It's an advocacy na minsan lagi kong sinasabi, we have a responsibility to clarify things, especially if we're not sure about them. Hindi pwedeng we make certain judgments right away while we jump into conclusions. So, and this is all for nation building. Yun pa yung lagi kong sinasabi, this is all for nation building. So kung hindi tayo clear about mother tongue-based multilingual education, what do? We do our research, we ask the right people. Kasi hindi yan i-implement ng government kung hindi yan maganda. If we're talking about the educational system, di ba? Hindi naman siya bibigyan ng chance, especially we're all multilingual, or bilingual multilingual. So hindi naman yan ilalagay dyan and susuportahan ng mga institutions like the Ateneo, like the other institutions I will not mention. But we're all one in saying that we have to start where the students are at. So use their mother tongue. So yun, parang that's just one moment that I feel like God is telling me, Che, meron kang ang purpose. Meron kang ang dapat gawin na hindi lang sa classroom. And this is what I felt, diba, in fifth year into my teaching career. Sinabi ko na agad that I shared this in one of our previous sessions na I was meant for something else, something bigger. So I've been teaching for more than 20 years now and doing teacher training for more than 15 years. Pero parang mas stronger ba yung message ni Lord na you have to stay there. So never in my teaching career did I actually feel like, ay, ayoko na mag-teacher training, nakaka-drain ang mga, nakaka-drain. I mean, nakita ni Ines, I'm really in my element when I do teacher trainings, mapa online or face-to-face. And I never realized that I would also thrive, like many of us, diba, in the online setup. Kasi ang ibang-iba tayo sa teacher training pag pre-pandemic. But God has a way of telling us, you'll thrive anywhere. Diba? Kahit saan kita ilagay. Basta, as long as you know your purpose. So,
yes,
yun.
amen.
Yeah. Diba? As long as you know your purpose.
Super agree.
Kaya nga virus lang yan. Anong sabi? Virus lang yan. Lalabanan natin yan. So there, yeah, that's also one way of God speaking to me as I teach, as I do training. So, yun. Briel, ikaw, what do you think?
Well, I was thinking actually, like I was starting to look back and I realized that in the first few years of me teaching, I had a hard time like hearing what God had to say. When Ines was talking about her time in Assumption, like a war flashbacks of like teaching in high school, it's so tiring. It's so overwhelming.
Yes, talaga draining.
Diba? Like all the requirements that you have to check, talagang it has to be like a lot kasi the parents ask. The parents pa. When you deal with the parents, oh my
That's
God.
why I left after 5 years.
Yeah. It's so overwhelming and there was so much going on. Parang I had a hard time like listening to what God had to say. It's just ironic because it was a Catholic institution. But I think when I started teaching at Ateneo, I also had like the same problem because while I couldn't like fully hear what God had to say, all I could hear was like the thoughts of self-doubt, which we've discussed before. But the self-doubt is so strong, I think, in teaching. I think that's something that not a lot of people realize about the profession. Like, we always seem to like be sure of what we know when we're in front of our students, but sometimes behind closed doors, there's a lot of questions going on. Am I teaching it right? Do my students understand me? Ganyan. Among many other questions about how we are as educators. And parang I thought that I was already in a good place by the time that I left Poveda as a teacher and then moved to Ateneo. And then I started my first SEM and it was scary. It was terrifying, not just scary, it was terrifying, honestly. Yun nga, the thought of being part of the department that raised you. I guess, can I say that? The department that
yes,
raised you.
I super get that too. Yeah.
And then suddenly like, oh, I'm here. Which is humbling and like syempre my little party time between like here, but also like, oh God, I'm here. And I thought that I was already like an okay teacher based on like what I got from my students or how I dealt with my students. But I think I also forgot to like find that part of me in teaching because I was so terrified. And I kind of went with what my senior colleagues told me. Actually, not just in the department, but like senior colleagues in general. They always say na, you have to be parang strict, ganyan, you have to be serious kasi the students won't take you seriously or they won't respect you. So I kind of tried to do that during my first SEM. So parang I tried to be like, medyo strict, my standards were high, ganyan, because they're in college, they have to know how to write properly and research properly. To the point that my colleague in another department, my friend in another department started teasing me and calling me Madame C. Because he was helping me like compute my grades because I didn't know how to do math properly. I was like, what do I do? So he was helping me fix my grading sheet. And then sabi niya, girl, parang Madam C, yung ano mo, peg mo ngayon na. So, ganun. So, that kind of made me think then about like me as a teacher. And I think it was also in Ateneo. When I started teaching at Ateneo, when I started having the space to like go to mass and like be silent, and really try to start hearing actively like what God was trying to tell me. Kasi medyo nabawasan ng onti yung ano, overwhelming elements. So when I moved in Ateneo, yeah. And I think like looking back, then I realized that God was actually speaking to me in those moments. I just didn't fully realize it. Like the good feedback from my students, like when they say like, oh, they enjoyed class, or when they repeat a line that you said in class. I had a student back in high school who like made a shirt out of one joke I said in class. That's like, one of my achievements as a teacher. I'm kidding. So bring
That's so cute. Wait, what was the
diba?
joke?
I think I was teaching them about Confucius, I think. Yung parang respect, ganyan. So I was telling them like, parang we all respect each other and we all have a good like relationship, but I don't want you coming up to me in the hallway and saying, hey, Briel. And they turned that into a t-shirt. I don't know. Kids are interesting and
cute.
Sometimes I can't understand them. So yun. So like moments like that. And like with my colleagues then, the reassurances from them and even from the circle, I'm really, really grateful for this group. The reminder that you're still like in your early years. You're still in your early years in teaching. So parang you'll get there. I am really grateful for those reminders, because sometimes talaga the thoughts of like not being enough or not being good enough is so strong. And I'm just really happy to have like a support system within the department and outside. So I'm really grateful that parang for us, we always remind na parang kuda personalis, diba? And maximum compassion like towards our students. But I'm also glad to see that like with my colleagues in the Ateneo. So there's that.
Thank you, Briel. So now, Ines, Cheche, and Briel has told us how they see God, how God speaks to them as they teach, no? And now, so of course, the question, of course, now is, so how do we see God really concretely in our teaching now, particularly now, no? How do we see God in our teaching now, and how do we help our students and our colleagues see God, particularly now? So, Euge?
Maybe I can answer first the second question, how we are helping our students and our colleagues see God now. Students in particular, I'm sharing with everyone, one very good feedback that I got from the assessment from the students was, especially during this online learning, they found it very comforting that I would start each and every session with a prayer. I would start each and every session with a prayer, and it gave them some sense of normalcy, that sense of the old normal that we used to enjoy before. So in that simple act of doing an opening prayer, it really helped them. So that's why I've been doing that. I start my class with a prayer, and then I end it with a prayer. Very heartfelt Hail Mary and Our Father really gets through them, so that helps. Second, we do good and do right by the students, and I think we all practice that. So long as we conscientiously do our duties for our students, they see that. Whenever you still do your commitment to them, you deliver what you promised to do for them, they appreciate that. And whenever you do good and do right by the students, you show them kindness, they feel God. They see God. Because they see that goodness is still there, the kindness is still there, notwithstanding the difficulties, notwithstanding the challenges. And thirdly, of course, being an Ignatian school, I make sure that part of our teachings would be about the formation, the Ignatian formation. And I really would hammer them about the responsibility that they would all have to bear in the future when they all become professionals. So that includes being men and women for others. So that's part of that. So how do I see God now? What was the second part again? How do you see God in your teaching now? I think I'll end with I have you heard about the prayer? I really love this prayer. This is the Archbishop Romero prayer. If you've heard of this,
Oh.
this was a prayer. Sorry, there's a garbage collector. Okay, this was a prayer first presented by Cardinal Bearden in 1979, and this was actually quoted by Pope Francis in 2015. And this is how I see God now, because all of us we are all planting those seeds. We are planting those seeds, and we I guess it's one thing that I also love about the teaching. When we teach now, we're actually time traveling to the future. Sorry for it. It's like Back to the Future. So that's a bit of a pop culture
Ang ganda
reference
naman.
there.
I like how you put it, Euge. Ang ganda nun.
Because we're now seeing the future unfolding.
Yes,
and
I love it. Yeah.
yeah, and I'll if with the indulgence of the group, can I just read through this Archbishop Romero
Please.
prayer? And
Yes.
it's
Let's
really,
go.
I really love it because it very much encapsulates what we are being teachers for. Here, I'll start with the second part. We water the seeds already planted, knowing that they hold the future promise. We lay foundations that will need further development. We provide peace that produces far beyond our capabilities. We cannot do everything, and there is a sense of liberation in realizing that. This enables us to do something and to do it very well. It may be incomplete, but it is a beginning, a step along the way, an opportunity for the Lord's grace to enter and do the rest. We may never see the end results, but that is the difference between the master builder and the worker. We are workers, not master builders, ministers, not messiahs. We are prophets of a future not our own. We who are in the teaching profession, we are prophets of a future not our own, but we plant the seeds, we continue what we can do. So that's how I see God in our teaching now.
It's so beautiful, Euge.
Thank you. And perhaps maybe Cheche can add some thoughts about that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that prayer. That's very timely. And in my case, yung first question natin, how do we help our students and fellow teachers see God? Ano kasi, parang by practicing more cura personalis. Kasi medyo may pagka-control freak ako, hindi lang pala medyo. Pero alam mo yun, pre-pandemic, I tell my students to make sure that they submit on time, not a minute beyond the deadline. So ganun ako control freak. Pagdating ng classroom, I know what to do from the first minute all the way up to the last minute. So talagang, but now, I had to learn how to be more flexible. And this is yung question naman na to, how do we help our students see God? We don't do this explicitly. Parang we just ask the Holy Spirit to guide us, di ba? So some students are asking for extension. Dati yan, if others can do it, why can't you? Di ba? Ang sungit-sungit pa. Ngayon, hindi. Di ba? Na parang, bakit? Why do you need more time? Everybody's doing the same things. Parang ganun. And in my evaluations actually, before, talagang lumalabas constantly yung I would give too much work daw, too heavy workload, etc., etc. And I would try every so often to change kasi, di ba, we learn from those feedbacks. So I would try to change, medyo lesson ko and all, but I would still get the same. It's probably not because of the workload. Now that we're talking about it, I just realized na it's probably because of the way I would do it. Na walang flexibility. Na walang room for patience, understanding, compassion, all of these things that we are now learning the hard way. Ako, learning it the hard way because of the pandemic. Na parang, pag may nagsabi, Miss, can we move the deadline to, or I'm having a difficult time doing this, etc. I look at it from a very personal point of view na. na the students are individual people who are struggling in their own ways. Lalo na yung not just my undergrad students, but also my grad students who are also teaching at the same time. Na my God, yung isang course lang natin sa MA, for example, this intercession period is already too much for those who are still teaching. Kasi we have different academic calendars, di ba? So kung before yan, hindi. I set the deadline at the beginning. I already thought it through. So dapat magagawa nyo na yan. Hindi pala. So God has really given me the heart to be more compassionate. That's lagi yung reminders natin about pura personalis. And by doing that, I'm also helping myself by not being too hard on myself in the process. Kasi yun nga, everybody's going through something. So you just need to be more compassionate. And I know that through our curriculum, through our syllabus, I'm able to help my students one way or another. Pero ito, yung non-tangible, ito yung hindi mo makikita sa syllabus. This is what I think is the most important that I can do. Yeah, that I can do for them. In order to help them, yung showing them more care and understanding. Yung last naman, how do you see God in your teaching now? Connected to that, na I see God in everything that I do. Kasi pati lang yung internet connection, pag nawala yan, sino tatawagin mo? Kahit magalit ka na kung sinong company dyan, mapapatawag ka na lang. Oh God, please. Diba? Diba? Oh God, please. Oh, totoo. So I see God in every moment. Before I teach, so yung planning stage, during teaching, and even after, when I reflect on what I've done, what I've talked about with my students, my interactions with my students and even trainees, sa training participants. So parang God is everywhere, especially during this time. There were times, actually, nako-compare ko lang ngayon, no? Pre-pandemic, we would hop from one room to another, di ba? Hurriedly, na parang wala nang bukas. Sige, you walk from one building to another kasi nagra-rush ka eh. Now, every moment talaga after each session, mapapadasal ka na lang eh. Thank you, Lord, for that moment. And thank you for not, for giving us a good internet connection just like now. So lahat, mapapa-thank you ka na lang. And thank you for allowing my students to come, for letting us meet. And kahit yung iba hindi mo nakikita because of the challenges, technological challenges, masaya ka kasi nandyan lang sila, they're listening to you. So yeah, that's how I see God in teaching now. Who else would like to share?
Si Briel, yung baby natin.
Oh gosh. Okay. At first I thought na medyo mahirap, parang yung how do you help your students and colleagues see God, especially today. But I realized na it's kind of like you know how parang we always say that God meets us where we are. So parang naisip ko, if my God can meet me where I am, parang who am I to withhold that compassion from my students? Sino ba naman ako na hindi ako magiging mabait sa mga estudyante ko? So the entire shift to online learning, parang also to borrow a quote from musical, changed something within me. And parang with the university, like really advocating for maximum compassion. Parang I realized that like trying to be strict is not working for me at all. It cannot. So like
me
now that
also, Briel. You're not
Diba?
alone.
So parang, ano ba, parang inisip ko na lang, okay, they're gonna have stricter profs in the future. Let me be like, since I'm in their freshman year, let me be one of the nicer ones. It's okay. And it's working out well for me, I think, and my students. So I think I mostly see God right now in my teaching through like the patience and the compassion. That not only I feel like I extend, but also what they extend to me. Because they also understand like when I say like, hey, sorry for the delay. There's just a lot going on. They're like, oh, it's okay, ma'am. Or like when you're not feeling well, they're like, it's not soon, ma'am. So I really appreciate those small moments of connection with them. And at the same time, parang I think I just also realized that they're freshmen, they're in their first year of college. It's a whole new world. And there's just so many changes. There's so much change going on in their lives. I think it helps to have someone, or at least one of the professors that they have, or one of the teachers that they have, to be a little understanding. And I think that's something that I'm trying to work on now. Parang in the same way that God shows us He loves us, but He doesn't coddle us. Parang I'd like to be the same way with my students. Parang I want them to know that um I'm there for them if they need me to help them with a difficult material or like a difficult reading. And but in the same way, like with Cheche, parang to be them to understand, to be with them to understand that we can be flexible with the deadlines, but also still work with how can I help them improve, diba? Syempre nandun pa rin yung need for guidance to mentor our students. So I think that's where I am now, diba? So there, that's it for me.
I'll take it from Briel kasi Briel, di ba sinabi mo you quoted from a musical?
Yeah.
Because I will also quote from a musical. Alam niyo yung sa Les Mis, yung to love another person is to see the face of God, di ba?
Yes, I love
Yes.
that.
Yung song din ng teaching ko kasi cheesy to ha, this is very cheesy. But probably because of that cannonball experience that I talked about earlier, talagang maniwala man kayo o hindi, mahal ko yung mga estudyante ko. Parang minsan nga love at first sight. Of course, you cannot love every student the same way. Pero talagang, ewan ko, that's how I see God first, is that God, I think He's really the one who lets me see Him in my students. Kaya, minamahal ko sila kasi nakikita ko yung Diyos sa kanila. And, man to, hindi ito yabang kasi makikita rin naman dito sa mga, sa mga evaluations ko na yung our teacher cares for us. Nakikita nila yun. Yung kindness, yung ganun talaga. I mean, hindi ito yan, pero ganun eh. So, ganun, magkasama na yun. How do I see God? And how do I help my students, even my colleagues? Yabang to, pero palagi ko nakikita rin nila yung Diyos sa akin. Kasi nga, I really tried to be a good person. Ganun lang. Ayan na ang final word. Si Ines. Ikaw na, Ines.
I want to say, wait, I hope you don't hear there's like hammering happening here also, like that garbage truck kanina, huge. No, but I also
that's God working through us also.
No, but I think I would like to speak on behalf of Cheche, Briel, and Euge when we say that we also see God in you, Rofel. You're the one who brought us together, who actually made this group what it is and allowed us to share, what's in our hearts. And iiyak na rin ako. But it's true. I mean, I think it's not just being in the classroom, but also like how you interact. Just your very being shows God to all of us. And I'd like to thank you for that. And each one of you, everything that you guys said, my heart resonates with all of it. And just really quickly, I just want to say that Briel, what you said earlier, all the older teachers, when I was your age, I started teaching about 21 or something. I was so young. Same. They told me you have to be strict. Yeah. Don't smile. You did all of these things.
Don't smile. That's so true. So when you enter the class, don't smile.
I know. I struggled with it for a long time, and then I didn't want to be class advisor because I didn't want to get too close to them. That whole thing. And Cheche knows this, but this year, I actually, because one of my students requested it, I actually opened up kamustahan sessions for my class, and then in the evaluations, and also they write to me and they say that it really made them feel seen. It gave them a safe space. It made them feel, that at the end of the week, there was something to look forward to. So I think that was God telling me, that you can do this, you can provide this, just do it. Even if you're not so comfortable. And then in the end, I was also sharing. I was also finding that space. It was also a good space for me. So I think that even if it wasn't a conscious, I want to bring God to my students, it wasn't so much that, but like, I think what Cheche was saying also, that, it's the way that we are, that when we reach out, and the way Rofel has inspired me and shown me that just by being authentic, being loving, and all of that, you already are communicating God to those around you. So does anyone want to add anything before we say thank you to our listeners and our viewers?
Thank you to our listeners and our viewers, di ba?
Yes, thanks everyone.
Yes. Briel?
So much.
Just wanted to echo what Ines said. Rofel, thank you very much for bringing all of us together. I mean, the mixture of this group, the balance. I think it's no coincidence.
No, there are no
accidents. That is so true.
Exactly, and what each one of us bring to the table, it's God's will. It's God's will.
Can you
so
imagine
thank you,
how long
Rofel.
we've been doing this now? And
yes.
we all thought that this was just going to be for one session.
Exactly. We thought this was going to be one-off.
In May, in April, or when? Diba? Tapos we've been doing this for
4 months na ata.
4 months na, yeah. 4 months.
And Briel, whether you like it or else, you are our baby, and we will take care of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So maybe,
our baby Briel.
Yeah, Briel, so maybe we will end with that, and Briel will have the final word. Okay? What?
Briel says, what?
Whatever you want to say.
However the Holy Spirit moves you, Briel.
Yes. We will end the show with you, Briel.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yeah.
My mind just went blank. Like, what? You just stop it there.
Saluhin na natin. Remember we said we're going to take care of her.
First appeal
your back, Ines.
Yes, yes.
Ines.
Okay. So thank you to each one of you guys. You've actually made my life so much richer, and you have brought me closer to God. So I want to thank you, Rofel, Cheche, Briel, and Euge. And now I want to thank everybody who joined us this afternoon. We pray that if you do have that cannonball moment, you will take it and you will find God in all things. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Of weaving dreams too loose for me to wear, tired of watching clouds repeat their dance on air, tired of getting tired to doing what's required. Is life for me routine in the greater scheme of things? Through with taking roads someone else designed, through with chasing stars that soon forget to shine, through with going through one more day. What's new? Does my life still mean a thing in the greater scheme of things? I think I'll follow the voice that calls within, dance to the silent song it sings. I hope to find my place so my life will fall in place. I know in time I'll find my place in the greater scheme of things. Each must go his way, but how can I decide which path I should take? Who will be my guide? I need some kind of star to lead me somewhere far, to find a higher dream in the greater scheme of things. The road before me bends, I don't know what I'll find. Will I meet a friend or ghost I've left behind? Should I even be surprised that you're with me in disguise? For it's your hand I have seen in the greater scheme of things. I think I'll follow the voice that calls within. Dance to the silent song it sings. I hope to find my place, so my life will fall in place. I know in time I'll find my place. For yours is the voice in my deepest dream. You are the heart, the very heart of the greatest scheme of things. So here I'll follow the voice that calls within. Dance to the silent song it sings. I hope to find my place, so my life will fall in place. I know in time I'll find my place. Follow the voice that calls within. Dance to the silent song it sings. One day we'll find our place, for all things fall in place. For all things have a place in the greater scheme of things.
The fire we reported at the old fire hall is still burning out.
Do you sometimes feel confused or lost in the complications and complexities of life? Do you feel drained, listless, or exhausted from the daily burdens and responsibilities? Why not seek our campus ministers on air every Tuesday from 2 to 3 in the afternoon? Listen to our counselors from the Loyola School's Campus Ministry Office as they ground our lives in our faith, in our school's spiritual tradition. Campus Ministers on Air. Be guided, be inspired, be blessed. Listen to our Campus Ministers on Air. Radyo-Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration.